You moved back to the mountains. You talked about people coming up to go snowboarding, and I don't think I was aware of. Are you guys living in a ski town or a mountain town?
Yeah, just about 2 hours away from Los Angeles, Big Bear Lake. We met up
Oh,
here, and
uh,
I lived here for a year and a half when I first met my husband. But then I was like, oh, it's too boring up here. It's been weeks since I've seen someone without a beard. And so we decided to move. That's when we got married. We ended up traveling around Europe for a while. And then we road tripped to the United States. And then we landed in New York and kind of just lived there. We decided to live there for 5 months. Then we moved back, moved to Santa Monica, and then we were in Santa Monica for a few years. But once the world shut down, I was just in the mindset that I needed to get into nature. And so we decided to move back to Big Bear, and I love it. It's great.
we went to Big Bear once for. I was going to try to teach my wife to ski, but she got altitude sickness or something, and she still hasn't learned to ski. But it was nice. It was cute. I could see myself living there.
It's adorable. And I like that it's somebody called it, one of my friends called it a mountain island. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool way to look at it, because it's just this little town. It's the only thing up here, but it's a beautiful drive down the mountain, 2 hours from LA, like I said, so I can still go to the different events that I still wanted to go to. There's not a yoga studio that I love up here. It's all like beginner stuff. And so it's my weekly routine to drive down the mountain, and I make a whole day of it, get a pedicure.
That's
My
what you're
husband
talking
has a
about with
baby.
the candies too. Yeah. Okay.
So every weekend I get to do that, and it's
a supply run of various
solo
sorts.
time. The hardest part though was getting rid of the conveniences of living in a city. So I was ready to, but it was almost like realizing you have all these mini addictions. It's like, oh my God, I'm hungry. Just call Uber Eats or take an Uber across town or whatever. And so then at first it just felt like I was starving all the time. There were no options, but it was good because it comes back to that idea of like using your limitations as guideposts. I'm like, okay, well, what do I need and what are my options now? And so now I heavily rely on like things like Green Chef and Thrive Market and Vitacost. So I do all my shopping online. And I even have a meal delivery for my dog. He gets Farmer's Dog. And for a while in the beginning of feeding my baby solid foods, we did like tiny organics and raised real. So you just have to plan ahead more and create that in your schedule. But now I love it even more. It's like, I feel like I have more control over my life than just like feeling so reliant on like the coffee shop down the street.
How's the community there?
It's pretty good. There's a Facebook group called Big Bear Mamas. And so there's little events for kids and whatever. And I had a midwife when I delivered my baby, and she was at the other side of the mountain down in Apple Valley. And it's just interesting because she connected me with somebody up here that had just delivered a baby that lived in Big Bear. And so now she and I and her husband, or actually boyfriend, are friends. Like, so we hang out as couples. And then I was on a walk around here and I saw a mom. And here's the thing, I've moved a lot. So I'm really good at like making new friends where I go. I've moved a lot since I was in my 20s. And so I just will shamelessly like find the Facebook groups that exist and post like, hey, I'm new here. I need friends. These are the things I like to do. These are the things I'm willing to meet up. And that's how I meet people. And so I've done that up here. But also when I'm on a walk and I see somebody pushing a stroller, I'm like, hey, you're a mom. I'm a mom. Like, that was really how the conversation went. Then I like ran up to her while I was like carrying my baby in the carrier. And I was like, hey, other moms, we gotta like form our little co-op. And I just start making conversation. And she had my midwife too. And
oh wow,
you end up really, if you just connect through your midwife or something like that, like you end up having a ton of things in common, because the type of person that gets a midwife tends to have specific ideas of things. And
like, yeah, you're pre-screened for certain values structure.
Yeah, there's a lot of points of connection on the way we view the world. So
that's great. I don't know if you could tell, but we're sort of like, we're talking either about building a community, like buying land and building a community, or finding the right town. And so it's this big process of like, do we want to split our time? Do we want to, do we want to fully move to a mountain town? It's a pain in the butt.
I love that idea. That's been one of my dreams my whole life, is just to like live in a little like commune, basically. Like I watched that Netflix show, Wild, is it Wild Wild Country? Have you seen that by a
Mm-mm.
chance? It's one of those shows that's actually worth a watch. It's based on true events of what's the spiritual leader's name? Osha?
Osho. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Osho, yeah. And so it's actually the events that happened when they created a commune, and it's so interesting. There are so many twists and turns to that story. But I was watching it, and I actually texted my friend in the middle of it. I was like, I would have been a Rajneeshi or whatever they were called, that they called themselves, the people, the little followers of it. I'm like, I love all their ideals. Apparently, they were the bad ones, but she's like, I actually was. It turned out she lived in an ashram and in Australia that were followers of Osho, and she told me all these experiences about it. But
Hmm.
um I've been looking for that kind of community, and ironically my husband's family owns, they bought 100 acres of land and split it between family members, and it took me like 3 years into the relationship to be like, wait, that's the commune I've always dreamed of. Like,
Oh,
because
wow.
a chunk of that land is ours. We're going to be building something on it for summers and whatever. But
In
yeah, I'm like,
California?
yeah. And I would keep saying like, I just really want to live in a commune. And he's like, we have it. And I don't know how many times he said that. And it just like, whoo, went straight over my head. And then one day it was like, it was my own idea. Do you know that your family basically has a commune? It's like, I've said this to you so many times. I'm like, I vaguely remember hearing that voice float by.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I
That's
had to
amazing.
be ready for it.
Yeah, what that's so funny. Like again, back to the vibration. Like you didn't even know that it was right there the whole time.
I'd visited it. Like I'd visited it. I'd walked between the homes, but it wasn't like, there are differences than like whatever picture I created as a child. Like for some reason, there's one watering hole that we all go down to, and the funny thing is, there even is a version of that. Like one of the family members created a large pond that looks like a mini lake with like a dock. And like, this is so similar to my vision. Why couldn't I connect them? Very
Wow,
interesting. Yeah.
that's cool. You keep me posted with that. I'll be curious, and I probably do need to watch this Osho documentary.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Especially if this is what you're gearing up for. It is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in my life. It's so well done. It's like cinematic, really draws you in, but it's hard to decide whose side you want to be on, because you can just see the clear, I don't know, you see all the sides, but it's very interesting. Highly recommend it.
Hey friend, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this particular clip, then I have something else I want to tell you about, which is the League of Superconductors. It's a business mastermind that I run to elevate the greatest change makers of our time. That is people that I like to call quantum entrepreneurs, metaphysical, spiritual teachers, healers, coaches, light workers of different types. And this is a year-long business mastermind starting in May of 2022. So if that's the type of thing that you're looking for, if you're looking to better fuel your mission by having a business that brings in all the abundance you're looking for, that both operates at the 3D level, serving the people of Earth, and at a multi-dimensional level, bringing in all of the higher wisdom and experience that you have access to. That's what we're doing. So if that sounds like something for you, then you can check out the link below, read a little bit more about the program, what we do each month. And I also invite you to apply for a call with me, a strategy session. We can get to know each other. I'll coach you a little bit, and you can decide if that might be the exact thing that you've been looking for. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.